Hi there, I'm Dr. Suzanne Bechtel, a passionate legal educator dedicated to making legal studies clear, practical, and even a little inspiring. On this channel, you'll find a growing collection of videos designed to help you prepare for the Certified Paralegal exam. It covers key topics, breaking down complex concepts, and offering study tips that actually stick. If you're looking for a deeper dive, check out my Teachable School, where I offer structured courses, interactive tools, and exclusive resources to support your journey towards certification. Watch this video to the end and you'll find a coupon code for a discount. Don't forget to subscribe and explore the playlists. Your success on the NALA CP exam starts here. Now, before we move on to the lecture, there are two important disclaimers. First of all, this is not considered legal advice. Everything shared here is designed to support your learning journey. Also, I am not a lawyer. This course is designed to help you understand the concepts of the exam. This lecture is an introduction to foreign corporations, and it focuses on the procedures for qualifying a corporation to do business in states other than the corporation's state of domicile. Although the main focus here is on corporations, many of the same laws and procedures apply to other forms of business organizations, including limited liability companies. Here's a list of the areas we're going to cover in this lecture. So first, when is a foreign corporation qualification necessary? The state of the corporation's charter or incorporation is the corporation's state of domicile, regardless of where the corporation transacts its business. The corporation is considered a foreign corporation in every state or jurisdiction other than its state of domicile. If a corporation is to transact business as a foreign corporation, it has to first obtain permission from the proper state official of the foreign state. So their involvement, the type of involvement in the foreign state matters. Statutes will help us interpret what is the transaction of business in that state, and there are costs and qualifying and penalties for transacting business without authority, which we're going to get to. Actually, the next slide is a little bit more about that, so expand it. So the state long-arm statutes give courts of each state personal jurisdiction over corporations and other business orgs that voluntarily go into that state for the purpose of transacting business. A defendant corporation need not be physically present in a foreign state for the courts to have jurisdiction over it, but it must have certain minimum contacts within the state. Because foreign corporations are subject to the jurisdiction of any state in which they transact business, they need to provide an agent for each foreign state to accept service of process. So that's important in all those situations. If we look to the statutes of the foreign state for determining when it's considered to be transacting business in the foreign in that particular state, it could be where we learn that it's subject to Foreign Corporation Qualification requirements. So the Model Business Corporation Act, MBCA, the statutes of many states provide a list of activities that don't necessarily constitute transacting business in that state. Just a comparison, it could be modeled after the Model Business Corporation Act. The factors to think about is the extent, duration, and nature of the involvement in the foreign state statutory interpretation of what it does or does not constitute transacting business in that state, the cost of qualification and the penalties for transaction business in the foreign state without authority is outlined in the statutes as well. So rights, privileges, and responsibilities of a foreign corporation. The state has door closing statutes that provide corporations that do business in a state without authority are precluded from maintaining an action in that state, so the courts won't take jurisdiction. Qualified foreign corporations are subject to the statutes of the foreign states in which they are qualified. However, the internal affairs of the corporation are usually governed by the laws of the corporation's state of domicile. An application for qualification is simple. An application for certificate of authority, along with some other documentation, is appropriately filed with the Secretary of State or other agency that handles this. And a certificate of good standing is typically required to be filed along with that request and seeking authority for the foreign state qualification. Whenever any significant information included in the certificate of authority changes, a registered agent would need, or the registered agent, for example, the corporation needs to notify the Secretary of State right away by amending the certificate of authority. And so maintaining good standing is the goal. Foreign corporations are usually subject to annual reporting requirements in the foreign state, so annual reports will be filed in the foreign states as well as the domicile state. And foreign corporations may also be subject to taxation by the foreign state, and how those are calculated is typically found with the Secretary of State, and in some instances you might even find that the Secretary of State's for the domicile will the foreign state Secretary of State may also be requesting anything from the domicile state with regard to taxation by the domicile, and vice versa. Registering of corporate name is really simple. You reserve the name as long as there's not another business using that name. And you might also find that the foreign corporation doesn't wants to use an assumed name for business transactions in that state. And when they're no longer transacting business in that state, a certificate of withdrawal is required to be filed in that Secretary of State's office. And a paralegal's role is in here. And finally, don't forget, there are review questions that you can voluntarily work on at the end of this section of this particular review lecture notes. I hope you got some good information from this video lecture. Don't forget that I have a Teachable school account. Here is the address for that, mayananda-s-school.teachable.com. The name of my school is Mayananda. And also there's a coupon here for you to save some money. And finally, good luck on the exam. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.